Episode 65 of the podcast. January is Train Your Dog Month. This week we'll be discussing what training really is and how we can encourage owners to continue to train during their dog's entire lifetime. You're listening to the Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast. I'm Chrissy Newmeyer-Smith. I'm a certified professional groomer, a certified behavior consultant for canines, a certified professional dog trainer, and the owner of Happy Critters in Nashua, New Hampshire. And this, my friends and colleagues, is the podcast where grooming and training meet. January is Train Your Dog Month. Well, here in the United States it is. So we can use this month as a way to help our customers to be inspired to work with their dogs. Because training should be fun. The dog should be having a good time. The owner should be having a good time. And if everyone is having a good time, it's easier to make time to do it. You may be thinking to yourself, I'm a groomer or a vet or a tech or a different dog pro, and training isn't really my thing. I hear you. I get it. You have so much on your plate already. You know you have a certain limited amount of time. You can't imagine adding some amount of training to your work. However, the thing is, dog training isn't just happening during training sessions. Dog training is happening at each and every interaction. We're always training our dogs, and whether we know it or not. They're always taking in information about the world around them, being put into a carrier, driving in a car, walking through a parking lot, walking into a dog business, whether that be a vet, a groomer, a doggy daycare, etc., walking past other animals, being touched. So many things are happening. How do we feel about it? That's what we really want the dog to be working on. How do they feel about it? We want them to like it. So I looked up the definition of training because I think let's just go back to basics. What is training? So the definition is the action of teaching a person or animal a particular skill or type of behavior. I think we do that all the time. I think every interaction we have with dogs is teaching them some sort of a skill or type of behavior. Usually it's a type of behavior. It's what we do want is being built. Or what we don't want is we're trying to change. So I think that we often start thinking about dog training in terms of we're going to get into a group class, all the dogs are on leash, and we're going to work on sit, stay, come, down, and that's it, right? Like those are the things. Oh, and heel. We're going to walk around in circles. We have a group of families and a group of dogs. And how does dog training really help anything? I hear this pretty commonly. People are like, well, we already did training. Why do we need to do more training? What purpose would it serve for the dogs to be trained at this point? Or why would I send them to a trainer? We're just going to walk around in circles and practice sit, stays, and comes. But training is so much more than that. So walking around in a circle and being in a group class is excellent, right? That's a basic obedience class. Or an intermediate obedience class, right? But that's a basic class for something particular. There are so many ways that we train dogs. For instance, it could be a puppy class, all about socializing your puppy around other puppies and around people and taking things at a very, very basic level. It could be an agility class. It could be a flyball class. It could be a nose work class. It could be the kind of training that I do, which is going into somebody's home and working on every specific problem they have for their specific dog. There are so many types of training and trainers. So for Train Your Dog Month, I want us to be thinking about any behavior that we would like to see more of, or a behavior we're having trouble with, what can we replace it with, so that we can get our owners thinking, oh, wait, it's Train Your Dog Month. Every year it's going to happen again. We can enjoy that. Training doesn't stop. That's another important thing for owners to know. Because sometimes they go through a puppy class or a basic obedience class and think they're done. One of my customers did. And she's awesome. She's a terrific dog owner. This is her first dog. She went to classes. She did the puppy class, the beginner obedience before I met her for grooming services. And her pup did well on all those classes. She thought, great, we're done with that. And when I mentioned that she needs to continue working on those skills and teaching some more specific grooming skills and handling skills and vet skills, she was really taken aback. But we did training. And how many of us have heard that? We went to training. I have the certificate. Like look, I have the piece of paper. It's right here and it says we did training. My dog is trained. But training is so much more than those things. And take that in for a moment because it's everything. Everything that our dogs do or don't do is part of training. And when we live with dogs in the way that that fits into our lives, it's all training. So a dog who is uncomfortable with part of a veterinary procedure or has an issue, we should address the training and teaching. A dog who's uncomfortable with part of a grooming procedure and has an issue, we can and should address that through training and teaching, because training and teaching never stop. Remember, training is the action of teaching a person or animal a particular skill or type of behavior. Now, the skill part is what we usually think of in terms of training. That's we're teaching a sit, we're teaching it down, we're teaching you how to jump over something, we're teaching you to run to us, to stay where you are, like we're teaching a skill. But that type of behavior is important too. That's I'm teaching you how to behave when you're on leash. I'm teaching you how to behave when the mailman comes. I'm teaching you how to behave when FedEx drops off. All of those things are teaching and training also. And a dog who is comfortable with vet procedures, grooming procedures and stuff should still be getting some training and teaching to maintain that good habit that they have. So Train Your Dog Month should extend to the dogs who are good. We should be thinking about that and helping our owners understand that it's a lifelong process. Don't take it for granted that that dog is good, because a strong history of pleasant things happen for dogs who do this thing can help a dog remain good even if something happens later in life. What could happen? The dog who's always been good may have a sore ear that needs to be cleaned, medicated, brushed, trimmed, etc. And a strong history of this has always been pleasant can help that particular dog handle this unpleasantness of an ear problem. Right? We've put a whole lot of experiences into the I trust my vet groomer owner account. All right. Think about it as an account where we're saving for a rainy day. We're saving for an ear infection. We're saving for a ripped claw. We're saving for a sore leg. We're building those behaviors, even if they're already there. Don't take it for granted. Because you know what? Dogs that have just been going with the flow and haven't been getting that pleasant vibe may just become scared when something new and unpleasant happens. They don't have the same history. They just didn't think it was particularly scary, but they never really thought it was particularly pleasant. Add some pleasantness. And that doesn't mean that we have to have treats. If you listen to the podcast pretty often, you know that I'm not a huge fan of adding treats to grooming processes. And let me explain that a little bit here, because part of that is because groomers are already often doing 3 things at once, and adding treats and adding reward markers and stuff just adds another whole skill level. And because in a grooming setting, it's really common to have multiple dogs in the same grooming room, and who knows which dogs have resource guarding issues. Who knows which dogs are going to act entirely different if something smells like peanut butter. As a house call groomer, I can use treats because I'm in somebody's house. We also, as groomers, know that many dogs won't take a treat on a grooming table. So if we can bypass the need for that particular version of pleasantness and just go back to a much more basic, hey, I'm going to pet you, give you breaks, tell you how awesome you are, maybe be silly, those kind of pleasant experiences involving some behavior that we do want. Right? That's still training. Guys, you don't have to be a trainer to be training and teaching a particular skill or type of behavior. So we do this stuff as part of our jobs already. And if we can get owners thinking, oh, Train Your Dog Month. What do I want to teach this month? Make it fun. Make them think that this is some new challenge every year. Because it kind of is. I think we should do it every 6 months. Just like make it kind of a thing, like, oh, okay, now let's do it in July too. What kind of new thing are you going to teach your dog? Because training is also part of the way we communicate with our dogs. We're teaching them stuff, we're giving them feedback about behavior, and we want to encourage them to hang out with us. We want to encourage that relationship and that bond. And we do that by telling them what we want, when we want it, and how we feel about it. That's all falls under training. So as groomers or vets or vet techs, like when we have a dog in our care, when we have a dog in our hands, we can be teaching them something without really realizing it. Sometimes we aren't thinking that we're teaching right then, we're training right then, but we have a criteria. There's something that we're trying to encourage, something that we're trying to replace, something that we want the dog to be doing, and we have this opportunity to work on it. And as I kind of say often, we want to encourage our owners to follow through with stuff. Get them inspired. Get them playing with it. Get them showing up. Play with your dog. Have fun with your dog. If you're enjoying this podcast, please remember to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes, and tell all of your friends. Training never stops. It's part of the way that we live with our animals. And I give this human example to my customers. It helps them really get it. As kids, how long are we prompted for things like please, excuse me, thank you, and may I? Right? Like multiple times a day, all day long. I don't know about you guys, but it was pretty frequent for me. It's like, what do you say? Please. What do you say? Thank you. What do you say? Excuse me, or, well, I didn't hear you say the thing. Oh, excuse me, Mom. We are constantly being prompted for those. Not because we're bad kids, but because it takes time to build that habit. And as an adult, those habits are just ingrained now. There are some things I just cannot do without saying something like, excuse me, please, thank you, it's just how it is, right? You come into a house, you take off your hat. There are just some things that are on autopilot because you just did them for so long and it just became part of your life. That's what training is. That's what a lot of the training is that we do with our dogs. So I want you to think about like the please, excuse me, thank you, may I. I think I was about 8 when I didn't need the constant guidance. And being the oldest of 3 kids, I noticed that with my sisters, like, oh, okay, yeah, yep. About that age is when, you're starting to remember it on your own without needing someone to prompt you. 8 years old, right? Think about that. That's actually pretty old for a dog. Like we expect our dogs to know that at 2. That's crazy. Like we need to be thinking like, no, it's okay to prompt them their whole lives. We're going to keep telling them what we want. Keep telling them they're doing it right. Why not? Why not? Get used to talking to your dog. And that's the kind of thing that we should be talking about during Train Your Dog Month. Like, hey, owners, when was the last time you taught your dog something? Or reviewed the things that you already know? And here in New England, January is a great month for that because it's already icy outside. So either it's really kind of cold or the footing is really kind of tough. So the amount of exercise just running around the yard can be limited just because it's icy in my yard, right? If we were to go to the woods, the same thing. It's icy. It's not great for running around. You get a little bit worried some days that they're going to slip and fall. It's a great time to practice some of your more basic obedience stuff, right? Work on it. Work on it all the time. Why not? Why not? It's just got make it fun. Have fun with it. So some of the games that I play with my own dogs, when I want them to work out a little bit, get some exercise, and I have 2 border collies in a small house. So exercise when we're indoors is challenging, right? Some of the things that we practice in January here in Train Your Dog Month are things like we practice our recalls. I do it as sort of a hide and go seek game, right? I'll go off in the other room or way out of sight before I interact with them and just call them to me. And that begins our game, right? It's a recall. Why not? We're practicing. We're practicing for things that are going to happen outside. We're practicing interrupting whatever they're doing and calling them to us, and we're getting them running around. I set up little jumps. So now they have to run around and jump over something. We play tug. We play, fetch. Sometimes it's a matter of having them hop up onto the sofa and hop back down again, or hop onto the sofa. And, I work on touching them all over and brushing them. But owners can be doing this sort of thing and the reminder of, hey, it's Train Your Dog Month, right? That could be really helpful. Just put up a little sign like, hey, it's Train Your Dog Month. What kind of things are you guys working on? Because I've noticed over the years, dogs that get a lot of attention at home, dogs that people talk to all the time and work with anything really, whether it be a dog sport or they go for walks every day, but dogs that are interacted with pretty often with their owners, they're really much better for a variety of skills, right? They're a lot better. They listen to us more. They're more used to being talked to. And so we can encourage our owners to get back on board with it, especially, like I said, here in New Hampshire where it's icy and cold. It's a good month to work on stuff indoors. Why not? Right? And it also blows off some steam. Training is interesting because it causes some brain work. My two border collies can play ball on and on and on and on and on. One of them without really getting tired at all. But if we're playing ball and adding something like sits and downs and maybe some heel work and having interactions in between ball tosses, then he can come in and be content, even if he's not tired. Poe doesn't really get tired. Brock will get tired, but Poe doesn't really get tired. He's just built for running all day. But adding some sort of training helps soothe his nerves. I know that probably sounds a little anthropomorphic. I don't know if his nerves are soothed, but it helps him be content. He can come in and he's not nearly as restless. He's not constantly asking for us to play with him if we worked his brain also. He's more likely to just snuggle up with us on the couch, sit back and watch a movie, or watch us watch a movie, as the case may be. So what is training? Right? We talked about it in the first part. The action of teaching a person or animal a particular skill or type of behavior. And why would that stop? We're always teaching some sort of type of behavior. It's not like we need to come up with a new trick every year or a new trick every month. You can if you'd like. There are lots and lots of fun tricks. Personally, I have trouble teaching tricks because I don't know, not really my thing. But everybody's got something that they're good at, and that one's not mine. But teaching your dog to follow instructions and helping keep all of that fresh. Now, the other thing about practicing things is that the more we practice it, the more we continue on, the more solid that behavior is going to be. Just like the human example with kids who were prompted for please, excuse me, thank you, may I, the longer we do it, the longer we expect it, the more it's going to push into adulthood. I'm going to give you another example, another human example. I was really excellent in math, but I haven't done trigonometry since college, I think. Might have been high school. I think by college I was doing statistics and quantitative method, but I was really good at math. I don't use that. I don't remember it because I don't use it. Right? The things that you use are the things that get remembered. So if the things that you use are things like, okay, I'm going to pick you up, I'm going to touch your feet, I'm going to get in between your toes, I need you to hold still while I put something near your eye, I'm going to look in your ears, those kind of things, if we do them all the time, the dog is much more comfortable with it. And then later in life, if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. Right? It's not going to totally change for them. We can bring them back much quicker. Like, okay, you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. To give you another example, because I think my examples are helpful. For many people, they tell me that there's some example that was the hook for them. So I'm going to give you another example. My last dog, when she was about a year old, we were playing out in the field, and I noticed some blood on her leg. So I slowed her down, like, oh, hey, let's take a look. And she hadn't even noticed yet that she ripped her dew claw. But I looked down at her leg, and now she's like, oh, and looking at it. Well, it was ripped, and I was able to clip it off myself and put a bandage on it. But for the longest time, when we would do a nail trim, she already was a year old at this point. She already had a whole lot of exposure to nail trims that went just fine. Every time we did a nail trim, it was just that toe that she kind of did a closed her little eyes, waited for it to be terrible, you know. It took a long time for her to get past that one toenail. But you know what? She didn't fight me about doing the toenail. She still trusted me to get that particular toenail done. And it didn't spread to all of her toenails, right? She didn't start getting worried about any foot touch. It was just the one that had hurt. And it was a short-term problem. And it took her a long time, but it wasn't forever. You know, it just took multiple nail trims for her to get over it, which if I knew then what I know now, I would have done much faster. I would have done extra nail trims just to get her used to it. I didn't. I did what most owners are doing, like, oh, well, the next nail trim will handle it again. But, you know, it was almost 20 years ago. So, but I want you to think that because she already had a good foundation of nail trims aren't a big deal. That one injury didn't turn into a phobia. And that's what we really need for these dogs, is to work with them and train with them and to keep everything current, make it all so normal, train your dog month, have fun with it, but to make sure that the behaviors that we want, we're spending time working on. If we want this dog to be this good at 15, then we need to keep working on it. And actually, another thing about Train Your Dog Month, sometimes at about age 5, dogs haven't learned anything new in a while. I find working with like a 5-year-old dog is really fun because you start teaching them something new and they're like, oh, great, we haven't done anything new in a long time. So this week's action step is, if you work in an animal-related business, go ahead and start promoting Train Your Dog Month. I think it's an APDT thing, the Association of Pet Dog Trainers. But go ahead and just put something up. Tell your owners, hey, cool fact, but it's Train Your Dog Month. What are you guys working on? Have you picked something new? Do you want to try a trick? What are you working on? And with their old dogs, say, that's okay, he can learn something new. He can learn something new at 15. It'll be fun. Have fun with it. So have a great week and stay curious. If you'd like more information, you can find me at Chrissy@happycritters.net, happycrittersdogtraining.com, or you can join the Facebook group, Creating Great Grooming Dogs podcast, or the Facebook page, Creating Great Grooming Dogs. I really look forward to hearing from you. If you're ready to go beyond the podcast, and I hope you do, I've made it really easy for you. If you go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step, you'll see all of the options. There's the Scholar Lounge community, there's the Modern Grooming Professional certification, there's Master Canine Stylist and Professional Canine Stylist diploma testings, there's the Behavior Lab for coaching and private one-on-one sessions with me, and of course, the Master Groomer Behavior Specialist program. So go to creatinggreatgroomingdogs.com and click on your next step.